28 years later, The Bone Temple is directed by DaCosta, and it stars Alfie Williams, Jack O'Connell, and Ray Fiennes. And in the sequel to last year's 28 Years Later, Dr. Kelson finds himself in a shocking new relationship with consequences that could change the world as they know it, and Spite's encounter with Jimmy Crystal becomes a nightmare he can't escape. Now, I know I'm very late to the party with this film, and that's because I couldn't see it on the first week because my friend was on holiday and he wanted to see it with me, and then I couldn't review it over the weekend because there was a load of stuff happening in my life, so it's been a bit all over the place, but I'm here now, I'm ready to review it. And I've got to say, I was quite excited for this film. And this is coming from someone who wasn't a fan of 28 Years Later. But I rewatched it recently. And I've got to say, that movie's kind of grown on me a little bit. It's still a bit all over the place. It does still feel like two movies clashing together. But when it works, it really does work. And I appreciate that it was going out there. It wasn't very safe. It wasn't a by-the-numbers infected zombie movie. It actually tried to make a point. So I went into Bone Temple with a lot of optimism. And I am so happy to say that this is what I wanted from this franchise. Bone Temple is far more interesting, far more focused, and it does not hold back on the gore and the violence. And that's my first point. The gore in this movie and the violence, oh my god. There's that one scene in the middle. You all know it if you've watched the movie. Wow. And the violence and gore isn't just there to show off the practical effects and make this an 18+ movie. It actually has a point. A really sinister point, but a really good point. And that is especially the case with the Jimmies. Now, I said in my review of 28 Years that I did not like how they introduced those characters. It was a complete tonal shift. It made no sense. But I fully understand why they're in this franchise now. The Jimmies are actually far more sinister than the Infected because they have no real reason why they're doing this. They're just inspired by people like Jimmy Savile, obviously, and the Teletubbies, and they use those inspirations for these sinister moments. The main villain, Jimmy Crystal, is just this really deluded, disgusting, more than evil person. There is not a word to describe his evil. He is just vile. You really want to see him get defeated. And I absolutely love where this movie ended off with him. And I really liked how their plot line coincided with Dr. Kellen's plot line. This movie is set into two parts, really. You have plot line A with Dr. Kellen and one of the Infected, and then you have the Jimmies. And I really liked how those plot lines coincided. And when they're just solely focusing on the Dr. Kelson plot line, it's easily the most emotional part of this movie. And his plot line with this Infected called Samson, who's the Alpha, which, I'm just going to be honest now, I don't like the name of that. I think that is so goofy. But it is really, really interesting. And where it goes and where it leaves off, that ending with that plot line was so devastating. That's the only word I can describe it with. But it really works. It's really impactful. And it fit the themes of this movie as well. And this movie leaves off with so many open plot threads where you have no idea where it's going to go. And weirdly enough, this doesn't feel like a direct sequel to 28 Years. It feels more like a spin-off, and I strangely didn't mind that. It's like the creators went, okay, we introduced a few too many things in 28 Years, let's focus on a couple of plot lines, develop them, make them flourish, and then we can continue on with the rest of the storylines in the next movie, which is confirmed. And I really, really appreciated that, because one of my biggest issues with 28 Years was that there was way too much going on. But with this film, it feels so much more focused. You can actually get more invested in these plot lines, understand these characters more. It feels so much more interesting. And just like 28 Years, this movie is visually stunning. However, if I'm going to get into one complaint, they do this thing where they do the strap around the actor and the camera follows their face, so you get like a little POV of their face. I don't really like shots like that in this movie, I'm going to be honest. I'm guessing they were shooting that on iPhone again. I'm just going to be honest now. I'm not really the biggest fan of them pushing this iPhone direction. It's just never really worked for me. It works in some cases, but it's also very limiting. And I'm just not really a fan of them using it in these movies. But when they're using regular film cameras, this movie looks absolutely fantastic. And finally, the acting in this movie was absolutely fantastic. Alfie Williams, I praised in my 28 Years review. He's just as good in this movie as well. Ray Fiennes, though, absolutely shines in this movie. He's basically the main character in this movie. Spike is kind of pushed to the side, but I didn't mind that because he has those certain scenes, you know the scenes I'm talking about, where he shines, and he is absolutely fantastic. If he does not get some sort of award, then we're living in the worst timeline. And Jack O'Connell as well as Jimmy Crystal, absolutely amazing here. He plays one of those villains that's very over the top, but not too over the top to the point where he becomes very goofy. He's still very, very menacing. He never crosses the line, and I thought he was absolutely amazing. So in conclusion, 28 years later, The Bone Temple is exactly what I wanted. It's a lot more focused. It's visually gorgeous. I love the themes. I love the way that this story goes. I love the ending. You have no idea where it's going to go in the final movie. The acting in this movie, fantastic as well. I had a great time with The Bone Temple, and I've seen that it's not doing well, unfortunately. I understand if you didn't like the first film, so maybe a bit pessimistic going into this one. Trust me, it's absolutely amazing. Please give it a chance. It deserves your money. So 28 years later, The Bone Temple is going to receive a 9 out of 10. Now, just before we end off the video, I guess I need to explain why I'm wearing a different headband. It's not because I thought I'd do a little fashion change. It's because... this is no exaggeration. I might have threw my headband in the toilet. And I'm not exaggerating. That is exactly what happened. Basically, what happened was I went to the toilet. I blew my nose with a piece of tissue. Meant to throw that in the toilet, and I accidentally threw my headband in the toilet.
You idiot! You're honestly an idiot. I don't know what's wrong with you.
But anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have seen 28 years later, do let me know your thoughts on it. Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a good day, and see you later.